Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by MFC Welterweight Ryan McGillivray. Ryan, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing good. Ryan, you got a fight coming up at MFC 33, May 4th against Nathan Coy. This fight will be for the World Welterweight title. How's training been going for the fight?
It's going fantastic. I spent, I think it was about 7-8 weeks back home in Edmonton, and then I just about finished my 4 weeks here in Albuquerque, New Mexico with Jackson and his team here, and feeling really good. Everything's really on track, and I'm a very schedule-oriented person, and in my opinion, I feel like I'm right on track, maybe even a little bit ahead of schedule, and feeling really well.
You've known that you were going to be fighting Nathan Coy for a while now, since January, when you guys both fought on the same card. How long have you had for this, entire camp from when you started? Was it you started a week after your fight? You got right back in immediately? How long have you been working on this fight?
I took 2 days off after the last fight, and then I spent about a week just kind of training, but not specifically hard for this fight. So, doing maybe 1 or 2 training sessions a day. Just, for me, I can't really stay out of the gym. I always say I'm going to take a week off, but I never end up being able to do the whole thing. So, I think hard for this camp is it'll be about 12 weeks in total, about that.
We're 2 weeks out from the fight. Are you still doing hard training right now? Because, you want to be not peaking right now. You want to be peaking when it's fight day. What kind of training are you still doing right now?
You know what? This week is just finishing up here. I got a couple more sessions today. I have 2 tomorrow, and then I got 1 more hard week of training. And then the week of the fight is recovery stuff. Hitting pads, drilling particular situations or submissions, letting the body recover. So this week coming up will be my last live week where it's combative stuff, kind of beating up the body a bit more. But I give myself a week to kind of recover.
Are you starting to cut weight right now, or will you wait until, maybe a week, a little bit more than a week to start cutting for the fight?
With me, my diet's always been pretty pinpoint. I got to keep it on track, for a long time, but it hasn't gotten super down to crunch time yet. I'm thinking next week and a week after will be the, really trying to cut back on the calories and be a little bit more strict and paying a little bit more attention to everything leading into the fight. So the last couple of weeks will be a little bit more pressing, but I'm always on top of my weight and making sure that I'm sitting at a good place.
Who are some of your training partners helping you get ready for this fight in Albuquerque?
In Albuquerque, we got a plethora of people here, whether it's stand-up or ground and wrestling, and there's a couple good 2-time All-American wrestlers here, and not to give a lot of names out, because I know a lot of guys don't like everyone letting them know that they're here at the time for some reason. There's just a lot of good guys here. It doesn't matter what time of year you come, there's always fantastic training partners here.
And who will be in your corner? Will it be the guys from Jackson's or the guys from Canada?
I'm going to have a little bit of both. Like I said, I don't like giving a whole bunch out in that sense right away, but I'll have some people from Jackson's MMA, and I'll have some people from Legends Training Center back home to support me in this fight.
Now your opponent, Nathan Coy, he fought Diego Lima in his last fight. A lot of people were surprised that he was able to get a win over him because Lima had a lot of momentum going. He was undefeated, a hot prospect with the MFC. Were you surprised that he was able to defeat him?
I hadn't given it a lot of thought because I was trying to stay on task with my fight. But, I'm not going to lie. At first glance, I guess I was kind of, along with everybody else, thinking that Lima was going to be my next matchup, trying, once again, not to think too far ahead. But unfortunately for Lima, just no one told Nathan Coy that was supposed to happen. And he came out and put on a great performance and proves why he belongs where he is and how he's beaten all those people in his career and developed such a great career behind him. So it was a bit surprising, but at the same time, if you really look at his past and his record and his abilities, it wasn't like a landslide or anything. It wasn't a huge upset. It was just a little bit surprising, I think.
How do you view Nathan Coy? Do you view him as, a one-dimensional wrestler? Do you view him as, a typical wrestler with, good hands to match the wrestling? How do you view him?
I think he's like one of the new up-and-coming wrestlers. It's not completely one-dimensional where he can't throw a punch and he's just relying on his wrestling. He uses his hands well to set up his takedowns. He's got good ground and pound. I think he's a lot more well-rounded than people give him credit for. Obviously, his wrestling is his strongest suit, and I'm very well aware of that and prepared for that. But at the same time, I think he's a little more well-rounded than people give him credit for. But so is everybody in this game nowadays, and you got to approach every fight that you don't know where the fight's going to end up, and you got to be as well prepared in all aspects as you can be.
I know you can't speak a whole lot about game plans and stuff like that, but what are you working more on? Your wrestling, takedown defense, and stuff like that, or submissions off your back?
I think in every fight, I'm always trying to be as well-rounded as possible. I think if I thought I was going to match his wrestling in the 2 months I've been able to work on wrestling to match up against him, I think I'd be lying to myself. And I'm well aware of that. It doesn't mean that I haven't worked on my wrestling, but at the same time, I know that his wrestling is going to be better than mine, and that's going to be something I'm going to have to approach. But I'm trying to be as well-rounded as possible. But to say that I'm not very confident in my submissions off my back would be a lie as well. So trying to spread myself out as best I can, but trying to game plan for the type of fighter he is as well.
This fight is going to be taking place in a cage. A lot of the MFC events have taken place in a ring in the past, but now they're going to a cage. Is that an advantage, a disadvantage, or does it really not matter for you in this fight?
I think there's pros and cons to both. You know, obviously in a ring it's a little tougher to get it taken down, but it's a lot tougher to get back up. Where the cage is vice versa. It's a little easier to get the takedowns in some cases, and in some cases it's easier to use the cage to stand back up. So I think you use what you're given and play the hand you're dealt and use it to the best of your ability. I've fought most of my fights in a ring, so I'm pretty comfortable there, but at the same time I enjoy the cage. So whatever I fight in is just another obstacle for both fighters, and we both have to approach it the same. So I don't think it's super advantageous for one or the other.
Mart Pavlich, who was your trainer at the beginning of your career, he's also the promoter of the MFC. You're trying to be the first Canadian fighter to win the welterweight title. How much would it mean to you to be the first Canadian to win that title? And is it a little bit, extra honor that you're winning a belt from, your old coach's organization?
Well, I haven't won it yet, and I got a lot of work to do to get there. So I think anytime you get to be the first to do anything, no matter what it is a great honor. To be the first to do anything is, means that people have tried before you and haven't been successful, and for you to be able to do it is pretty special. At the same time, as if I look at it in that sense, it puts a lot of added pressure on things. So the way I've always looked at every fight is it's a process, not the goal that you're looking at. So as long as I'm doing every step possible leading up to that fight to be as prepared as possible, then that's all I can do, and that's what I'm trying to do right now. And it takes a lot of the pressure off. So it would be a great honor, and I would love to do that. But at the same time, I'm thinking about the little things right now that will lead to that success instead of the success in general.
When you're preparing for fights, do you visualize a lot before going in there?
Absolutely. There's been studies done that your body doesn't recognize the difference between a physical and a mental rep. So especially in our business where we have so many aspects to train and only so much energy, there's no value on being able to sit down and repeat those reps over and over in your head and fight that fight over and over. It takes a lot of the pressure off. So I've always been a big fan of visualizing, whether it's before every practice or before every fight. So I've fought this fight on May 4th hundreds of times already, and I think that's a big advantage going in.
A question that I've always wanted to ask you is, what's the worst injury you've ever had? Because I've seen some, crazy things, your nose, your ear, I've seen your eyes, where you can hardly even see. What's the worst injury you've ever had?
Oh, man, yeah. I don't know if I've been blessed with being able to recover well or been cursed with lots of injuries. I think one of the worst things for me was probably when I broke my back when I was 16. That put me out for a long time. Gave me a lot of challenges with my weight, and it took me out of my dream sports, which was baseball and lacrosse when I was real young. So in my life, probably my broken back when I was 16, I would imagine. You
said you've visualized this fight. How have you visualized it? What's the outcome?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that in all my visualizations, I've never lost, but at the same time, I've had fights that ended in the first, ended in the fifth, and went to the judges. I've been in some horrible positions in the fights. You know, I'm not one of those guys who just pictures the bell rings, I come out, hit them once, and it's over. I put myself in some horrible positions inside of that fight, but it's important to visualize how to get out of those situations, how to improve on them, and have as many situations as possible. So the amount of ways this fight's gone is, I couldn't even count.
Do you have a prediction for the fight?
A prediction? I've never done predictions, but like I said, I've done everything in my power. I'll continue to be successful in this fight, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But I'll be very prepared for this fight, and whoever wins this one's going to have to work for it. I know that. I know Nathan's coming prepared as well, and it's going to be a great night, May 4th.
Ryan, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you would like to thank? Anything you want to say to the fans?
One of my oldest family friends and sponsors, Pierre Sereau, he's always been behind me in all my fights. After Dark Motorcycles, Draco, Body Core, there's a lot of people behind me. I'm sorry if I forget everybody. But most importantly, my friends and family and my teammates that have been behind me, every step of the way, helping me out every way possible. I couldn't be here without them.
Ryan, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck May 4th at MFC 33 against Nathan Coy.
Thank you very much, man. It was my